History has a way of writing itself with the NFL on CBS, but the masterful narration of those moments belongs to him, the voice of CBS Sports, Jim Nantz. Jim, it's always great to be with you, my friend.
Thank you, Joe. One of my favorite days of the year. I know people get giddy about a lot of things, but for me, when the NFL schedule is released and I get a pretty good idea of what those months are going to look like in the fall and week by week, get excited about the matchups. You never know which games are going to land in our hands, and I'm just thrilled upon just receiving this news earlier today to see a really strong schedule ahead for the NFL on CBS.
Certainly so. More Sunday games with the NFL on CBS than any other network. And we're always so privileged to have you as our guiding light and leading the way. And as you allude to there, for fans, it's sort of win-loss day. You go through the schedule, you try and prognosticate a final record if you're going to be in the playoffs or not. For you, it's travelogue, it's marching orders. What do you see when you look at that grand story of the season to come?
And I'm really looking, Joe. I'm looking for matchups. I'm looking for the most marquee matchups, hoping that they stayed in our allotment as the AFC primary broadcaster. Of course, we have these cross flexes, as you call them, taking games out of the NFC package. No better example than that. Then right off the bat, week one, we have the doubleheader. You know, we alternate Sundays with Fox. But this year on week one, September 7th, we'll have the national 425 window with Detroit at Green Bay. It was a great matchup. The Lions and Packers have had some storybook meetings in the last few years, and to see the Lions and Dan Campbell and Jared Goff going against Green Bay and Jordan Love and Coach LaFleur, I'm very stoked. Didn't expect to get that game. So right out of the box, we're strong. And then we have, as you were alluding to, not only the most Sunday games, we have the most Kansas City games by far of any other network. Now, you could say, well, sure, that's to be expected since we're the AFC network, but we have nine. We have 9 KC games. We're going to showcase these games, including, I believe it's 7 of the last 10 weeks, we have the Chiefs as a primary game. And that includes such matchups as Baltimore at Kansas City. So to have Lamar against Patrick. And then the big one, the game that everyone would want, rate number one of all, is Buffalo and league MVP Josh Allen against Patrick Mahomes. That once again, thankfully, is on our air, our schedule. We've had it in the playoffs all these many times. We've had it in the regular season almost every time. So I'm thrilled to be back with that one on week 9 in Buffalo.
Can I take you there to week 9? Because this is a saga. This is another chapter. This is a story that you've told over this decade between these two quarterbacks and these two franchises. To get it once again, and now having the width and the depth of what this rivalry has come to mean, what has it come to mean to you?
Well, it's defined the era in a lot of ways. And there's something special about that. I mean, it's the game that never disappoints. Last year, Tony Romo, Tracy Wolfson, and I, we got to see it twice, of course, during the regular season. You just had the clip on the 4th and 2 play where Josh Allen ran through the defense and bounced off a bunch of players and won it on a 4th and 2 play to beat the Chiefs that day, 30-21. And then we had the AFC Championship game at Arrowhead, which was a really tightly contested game and could have, in a lot of respects, gone either way. So, you know, you're alluding to, Joe, that I've had this story, you know, and it's been one-sided when it really counts most of all, and that is for the right to move on in the playoffs, or as it was just a few months ago, the right to go to the Super Bowl. And it's amazing how many times that story of can they ever get over the hump, how sweet that story is in sport. I've seen it over and over again. And normally there is, for that one player or that one team that can't get over the hump, they joyously at some point figure out a way to do it. Most recent example, that would be Rory McIlroy at Augusta National and the Masters tournament. So it's like, is he ever going to do it? Is Josh Allen, and it's not falling on his shoulders. He hasn't done anything to lose these games, but is Buffalo going to find a way to beat Kansas City? You know, I don't know when it's going to happen, but one of these days I expect it will in a very important spot. But in the meantime, you got probably the 2 biggest stars in the game. I mean, I think that's fair to say. Going toe-to-toe again, it's going to be the first Sunday in November, And that's a game that we marked number one on our schedule. That's the one we hope to keep, and we got it, and we are thrilled to death to have it.
We can't wait for that one again. And much like McElroy, once you've felt all the pain, there's only one thing left to do, and we'll see if Josh Allen can do that when it matters most this season. I want to take you a little bit deeper into November because we have a holiday offering here as well. On Thanksgiving, it sounds like maybe turkey at the Romos because we're going to take the Dallas for the Chiefs and the Cowboys, and what a matchup that's going to be, intertwined in so many ways, from ownership to management to quarterback. What comes to mind when you see those two brand names on the same field together?
Well, I think they're the two biggest brand names as far as teams in the NFL right now. Everybody wants to get as many Dallas games on their schedule as they can. And, of course, Kansas City is making a pretty large case for being America's team 2.0. And with Mahomes and Andy Reid and all that, they are a compelling watch every single time they take the field. So to have the two biggest brand names in an already highly visible, well-watched window, biggest window of all, it will set records. I mean, that's an early prediction on the season. It'll make the folks in the sales department and the folks on Madison Avenue happy. But the fans will be ready and stoked for it, too, to have Kansas City at Dallas on Thanksgiving. I mean, it's just a monster matchup to be put in that window. And by the way, there's a doubleheader on that Sunday, just a few days later after we depart Dallas. Our crew will be heading to Pittsburgh to see Josh and the Bills take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Presumably the Steelers with Aaron Rodgers as the quarterback, and the Steelers being in the thick of things in the AFC North. So we'll see. It's going to be a football-heavy weekend for the Nantz's, Romos, and Wolfsons, and Rickoffs, and Michael Arnold, our director, and all of our crew. We like doubling up. We like when we have two big games go from one to the next, and we have it again this year with those two great matchups.
And we know nobody does it like you guys and the team with the NFL on CBS. I've already billed that KC-Dallas one as the show and tell game. One team for this decade has shown us, the other one has told us, and time for Dallas to do some showing as well there in front of the grand audience on Thanksgiving. 11 of our last 12 Super Bowl champions, Jim, have come from 10-1 numbers or shorter preseason. I want to take you past that number to talk about a team that maybe could make some noise come playoffs, because year two under Harbaugh always means something special. What is LA's role in the story to be told this season?
Well, they've loaded up at running back, and we know how much Coach Harbaugh likes to run the football. So they've gone through the draft. They got Najee Harris signed in the offseason. They got Joe Alt a year ago out in the offensive line. I think they're going to be, I see what you see, by the way. I think they're going to be extremely dangerous. And we have some of their key games. I'm just kind of shuffling through this right now. We've got a week 6 Charger at Miami game on a doubleheader weekend that might be really going to most of the country. And then week 15, the Chargers at Kansas City. We know how big that matchup is between those two. And that's a late season important game. It will be at Arrowhead. And look, in the end, Justin Herbert, I love this kid. I know him quite well since he was in college, and they've reinforced the wide receiver position for him as well. And I think that you're onto something. I think the Chargers are going to be a team to watch.
I point to LA only because they will be the most traveled team in the NFL this season by some 3,000 miles, 4 times the amount of travel than the Cincinnati Bengals, who will stay closest to home in totality. One last one for the road here, Jim, because the halftime hot dog has taken on a life of its own. The story you tell of your ritual there at halftime, a few bites and then the rest to the garbage. I want to know, is there a hot dog power ranking? Is there a city that just does a dog right?
Well, it's got to be plump. It's got to be hot. And it's, I don't like them when they're just dried out. So Kansas City does a very good job. Of course, I get a lot of chances to try the hot dogs there at Arrowhead. We get a lot of their home games. Interesting, in Green Bay, where we'll be week 1, they don't serve us hot dogs. They serve us bratwurst on a
Yeah.
hot dog bun. So I feel a little bit off, to be honest, when I to the third quarter, because I'm not a bratwurst guy. I mean, I'll have it, but it's not the same effect for me as having a half a hot dog. So what you're alluding to here, for those who don't know, I don't eat a hot dog at any point during the year except at a football game, because I feel like that's supposed to be part of the experience. And I'll eat 2 or 3 bites and maybe get 2/3 of the way through the hot dog and I'll throw the rest of it out. I look forward to that ritual. I do. So, yeah, we'll be on the hot dog tour this season, Joe. Thanks for reminding me.
Of course. Abe Froman is the sausage king of Chicago, but you are the king of the NFL on CBS. Jim Nantz, we cannot wait for another season. Also wishing you the best on the call this weekend down at Quail Hollow. Lots of exciting action in front of us.
Yeah, we got a big weekend. This is obviously the second major of the year, and it's fun to take a little mental time out. As I said, I get giddy looking at the NFL schedule, but I am supercharged and stoked about this weekend here in Charlotte to be able to call this major with Rory coming in off the Masters, Scotty Scheffler coming in after shooting a zillion under par in Dallas, Justin Thomas on fire, Bryson DeChambeau playing so well in every major and recently winning. It's going to be a great weekend, but the NFL season, it's going to be here before we know it. And all of us at CBS, there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes on politicking. I'm not involved in that role, but starting with David Burson, who leads us, Dan Weinberg, our team goes through this in every single game for weeks and months. I'm sure it's similar at the other networks, but our guys really live it for so much of the year, trying to get the games, trying to build the schedule. And today is Christmas for them. And I think they're very happy with what Santa has brought them.
Appreciative always of the hard work behind the scenes and appreciative of your time. Jim Nantz, thank you.
Thank you, Joe. See you all. All the best.
Again, a massive thanks to the voice of the NFL on CBS. None better than our guy, Jim Nantz. A look at some of the best games CBS has to offer you this season. It begins week 1 as we take to the north. The Lions and Packers from Lambeau. Beware the bratwurst. Chargers and Dolphins going up in week 6. Then it's Chiefs-Bills, Chiefs-Boys. Bills and the Steelers coming at you in week 13. A nice cadence to the Bills' schedule. Their hardest games spread out nicely.